Okay, the hour being 7 o'clock, I'll call this meeting to order. If we could have the city attorney lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Galen. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor,
Councilman Shuttron.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shuttron, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mayor,
Councilman Jost.
I'd also like to add an executive session in for personnel and a legal matter.
Okay, is there any objection or discussion on that? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. First up is presentation St. Christopher's Highway. Okay, so.
I really haven't had a chance to get acquainted with them yet. Neighbors, and we aren't close enough, I guess. The 12 miles is all that separates. Highway is a traveler's assistance program. It's been very successful, and very busy. And we are looking for help.
Thank you. I got two of those.
And probably worthwhile, kind of a thing. It's a small.
I know the copy of it. We can share it in the,
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is.
Travel assistance program. There, now it is. St. Christopher's Highway is a travel assistance program, and I'm Joyce Corcoran. I'm the coordinator of the program. The program started in 2019 when Holy Communion Episcopal Church in Rock Springs became aware of many problems that people were having getting where they were going. And of course, it worsened during 2020 when COVID showed up. And it's become it's become more than a success, almost more than we can handle. We have been funded the past 3 years by the Episcopal Diocese of Wyoming Foundation to the tune of $50,000 each year. And we are also receive some COVID relief money, plus donations from people in the communities. We serve both Rock Springs and Green River and even Wamsutter and Granger and all the whole county, because we're Sweetwater County. St. Christopher's program. We've served well over 1,000 people since we started, including children and animals, pets. I could stand here all night and tell you story after story after story about the kinds of people that we help, but that would be a waste of your time and mine. You just need to realize that there are so many folks who are living on the edge these days, and they go somewhere, their car breaks down, they run out of gas money, due to and it really got bad when the gas prices went up and the hotels have all raised their prices for us. When we started out, we were paying $35 for hotels and that became impossible for the hotels. So now we're paying $60 at most of them. And as you know, during this past, all I can say is during the past 2 months, January and February, we spent $15,000 helping people. And it pretty much is wiping us out. We're not going to have enough money to finish out this year if we don't get help from the community. So we've been raising money in the community, both Rock Springs and Green River, and trying to stay in business until we can get another grant. I gave before you a budget that we're hoping will happen. And it's all in the hands of our elected officials at this point. I've been to the county commission, to the Rock Springs City Council. We've come to you now, and we're Wyoming Community Foundation and the Episcopal Diocese of Wyoming will not help us as much as they have in the past, because they've also started a program in Rawlins that serves Carbon County. The need is great. Our dream, the Episcopal Foundation and St. Christopher's Highway, is that we will have help available in all the major communities on I-80 before long. And it is a dream because it's really expensive, but it's something that we see as a real need, and not as a need to proselytize or try to turn people into Christians. We're trying desperately to help people who are in desperate need. And that's our main goal. We help people get wherever they need to go, not just to the next big town. Some of the travel assistance programs help people get to Denver or Salt Lake, and that's all they can do for them. We get them to their end destination, because they're just going to end up in trouble in another community again if we don't provide the help they need. We buy bus tickets, we pay for hotels, we do food, and we help with clothing and other needs that they might have. Some people think that we're doing way too much. I don't think we're doing enough. I guess I'm a tender-hearted person, but what happens to these people in their life is amazing. The people we serve are not just, we don't serve locals because there are other resources for locals in the community, but we serve people who are coming through or have been here for a week or so. And I have to tell you, there's some of the stories that I want to share are not pretty. Now there one that really sticks in my mind forever is a family who drove down to, and I think this was in 2021. They drove down to Louisiana, where this woman's parents lived, and there was two couples with their 5 children in a van, and they got to Louisiana. Okay, they ended up paying more than they should have for the funeral of her father, which is why they went. And they got to Rock Springs and were out of gas money, and their van broke down. And so the van was of no use to him. We had a mechanic look at it, and he said, it's not worth fixing. It's yeah. So we got them all on bus to go home to Washington, and we shipped a lot of their belongings that were in their van, and we had them in a motel, and we took care of them, and they loved us for that. And we don't ask for anything in return. Also, we serve a lot of abused women that the Y can't help with travel. And we've gotten women home to faraway places that have been in abusive relationships. And the other big user of our services is law enforcement. And they're absolutely the most wonderful about referring people to us. The officers will find someone that's needs help, and they call us, and we go find that person and help them. We go to the detention center and pick up people and take them to a motel and get them on a bus to wherever they want to go. And I think that's the detention center and law enforcement are our two biggest customers. And one young man that we helped not too long ago got out of, I think he got released from the detention center on Thursday. And I went and picked him up, and he said that he wasn't going to be able to leave town till he saw the probation officer. So I said, well, okay, so what to do? We put him up for 5 nights until he could get an appointment with his probation officer. And we fed him and got him some clothes and a number of things, because when he arrived in our detention center, he had only summer clothes, so he didn't even have a coat. So anyhow, the upshot of it was that he went to have his parole officer, and they said, you can't leave Wyoming. And so we helped him get with Family Resources. He got a job. He's part of our community now, at least for the time being. And those are some of the kinds of things that we deal with. There's nothing simple about this job. My career was really a lot of fun as a teacher, but I've found out that don't do too bad as a social worker too. So that's basically what we're doing, is helping people in need. Do you have any questions?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I was just curious, is this in conjunction with the other 501c3 in Sweetwater County, the Task Travelers Assistance Society of Sweetwater County?
Well, we're friends. We work together. But they can only do so much. They don't have haven't had the resources that we have had. Thanks to the foundation of the Episcopal Diocese of Wyoming Foundation. But we're starting to be limited from that funding. And that's why we're approaching the community to help us fund this program now. And
So
Task only helps people go to Salt Lake or Denver, and 1 night in a motel. That's all. And they do have an awfully wonderful coat closet, which they share with us, which is wonderful.
have you guys talked about combining, or are you going to?
We have talked about combining, but they don't feel that we would fit. Well, the main reason, I don't like to say this really, we don't preach at all to anybody. and they do, they see it as their role in life to try to convert people to Christianity. And I would like to do that too, but we're not allowed.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you, Joyce, for having a kind heart and doing this for people that are stranded and needed your assistance. I just wanted to know, do you partner up with the American Legion, because they also have money and grants for travelers for veterans?
Yes, we have an extensive resource list that we work with, and American Legion is one of the top ones, because if we find out if someone's a veteran, we are able to talk to them or to the VA office here in Rock Springs too.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Anybody else? Joyce, we'll get back with you on this.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't expect to get any answers tonight, but if we could work, obtain some of the money that we've asked for in the budget request from people that we're requesting money from will be able to stay in business. And that's my hope. Because we've done so much good the past 3 years and I would hate to see it fold up.
It's certainly a worthwhile cause, so we'll definitely take it under consideration.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce. Okay, next up, it's not on the agenda, but I'm going to do this ahead of citizens' requests and other communications. We're going to recognize our longtime Parks and Recreation Director who is moving on to bigger and better things. And go ahead, Reed.
I don't know how you can say bigger and better things. But yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. I guess this is either a celebration for some over in the family there, or we kind of look at possible mourning for others. But I am here tonight on behalf of the city to present to one of our leaders with a service plaque. I think that one that is well deserved, but also brings some sadness because he is a leader who's taken the next step in the career and for his family, and they are heading to Oklahoma, as you mentioned. So yes, it is warmer there. Yes, it's bigger, but it's just not Green River, right? So Brad Rainey, our Parks and Rec Director, has served the city and his community for over 8 years. He's brought the city a lot of success. I'll let Mayor Rust and Council dote on that and brag on that a little bit. But as a team member and a leader, he's been and meant even more to all of us. In our department head meeting today, we did a little tradition that my family does for birthdays. And that tradition is we go around one by one and we share what we appreciate about that person or what we wish for them. It definitely, I want to share, I can't share everything that we talked about, but I can tell you it definitely made Brad feel uncomfortable. He doesn't like the limelight, which is also the reason why he isn't standing right next to me right now. So besides the fact that I probably couldn't handle it either. So, but what I can share is that a common theme was that he's going to be tough to replace. Not only for what he does for his department, but what he does for the city, but also for his involvement in the community. Since joining the city, he's brought his department together. The people want to work for him. He's a listener. He's a future thinker, and he's a doer. No matter the job he needs or that he does, he wants to help. He cares for his team, and he cares for all those around. So Brad, if you can now come up. So Brad, I know we all know you're gonna find success in your future role and within the community. You definitely are going to be missed here. But at the same time, we all do wish you the most success for your family. We wish you the very best in your adventures. And we hope that you are successful there as you have been here, and we know that will happen. And of course, if you want to change your mind, it's not too late. So I'll have Pete has something up there. So
Before I read this, anybody on the council have any comments? Or
Brad, I just wanted to say, when I got on city council, one of the things that I wanted to really push for was department heads and the city administrator going out and looking for grants. And first couple years on council, we'd get a grant maybe once every 3 to 6 months. And then you just started rolling them out. I mean, you had projects you wanted to do and you found the money to do them. So I personally want to thank you for all the hard work you did in looking for these grants, doing the grant writing that needed done to get them, and bringing money into this community and making our Parks and Rec top notch. So thank you.
Well, Brad, I got to tell you, you can't go. And I'm going to tell your wife and kids the same thing. They can't go. They have to stay. We're going to miss you. You've done a great job in the Parks and Rec department and all the things that you've tied together. So you will be missed and you can come back. Well, in fact, we'll raise your wages if no. But we just want to know that we're going to miss you and wish you the best of luck. I hope it's terrible there, so you have to come back. Good luck, Brad, and you and your family. I know you'll do well.
Anybody else on the council? Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Brad, when I first met you formally, you were very forthcoming and so relaxed to be around. And, I consider you definitely as a leader. They always just, there's a difference between a manager and a leader. Managers dictating and telling people what to do and delegating. You actually bring a team together to work for the benefit of others and for the community. And that sets you apart. And now I know why Oklahoma wants you. So, but that speaks of your character and your integrity and your passion that you have. So I wish you good luck and I know you do well.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to read this plaque. And by the way, the pennant and back says it all. I mean, under Brad's leadership, we're named the #1 Parks and Recreation department in the United States for cities under 30,000 people. And that's exactly what this plaque says. But let me just read it. And I won't read the misprints, but I'll read it as it was intended to be. The City of Green River recognizes Parks and Recreation Director Brad Rainey, January 12th, 2015 to March 24th, 2023, for his leadership for 8 years, culminating in Green River's Parks and Recreation System receiving the National Gold Medal Award as the #1 parks and recreation facilities in the nation for cities under 30,000 people. That's an amazing, amazing accomplishment. And it's under your leadership that happened. So thank you, Brad. If the family would come up, we're going to take a picture. Council, come on down and we'll present this. Go farther back. Okay, next item on the agenda is citizen requests and other communications. Are there any citizens in the audience that are not on the agenda that would like to address the council? Okay, moving on. We have a public hearing for the proposed language amendment to a portion of Section 5 and Section 9 of Appendix C subdivisions of the City of Green River Code of Ordinances. Mark, would you like to address this issue?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Mark Westensco, Public Works Director. I know there's a public hearing side, but I thought we'd just give a little context here if, in case anybody wants to comment. I handed out a little piece of paper and I know we've got a little summary here for everybody to take a look at. For some time, the Development Services Group has been looking at opportunities to try to identify ways to help facilitate development within the city. One of the things that we've looked at is, and it actually came up during the last subdivision that was approved, the Seneschal subdivision. Mr. Seneschal asked, hey, is there an opportunity for me to just have you hold the plat instead of bonding? That would simplify things, that would expedite things, that would be a good option for me. And I said, well, we don't have that option in our code. So what we've done is we've done some research into some of the other communities, or some of our neighbors have actually implemented, their codes have been similar to ours, and they've implemented a simple fix. Our larger goal is going to be to redevelop our uniform development code and have a cohesive code. But in the meantime, what we want to do is give options. Our existing process is multi-step. We start with a sketch plat, a preliminary plat. Those things are done with the Planning and Zoning Commission. The final plat comes to the City Council, where it is approved. It's then recorded. Now there are lots that are available for sale, but there's no streets, there's no water, there's no sewer. All that stuff has to be built. And it requires that the developer establish a bond, and it gives them 24 months to complete that work. And if they don't complete the work, then the city's obligation is to go foreclose on that bond, finish the work, so that these people can actually have access to these lots that they may have purchased, which has certain advantages back in the day when it was written, but it also has certain disadvantages financially for the developers. So what we'd like to do is establish an optional alternative process. We wouldn't do away with the existing process, but it would establish an optional alternative process where we continue to do a sketch plat, we do a preliminary plat, those would go through the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then what would be brought to the council would be kind of a draft of the final plat with a subdivision improvement agreement, wherein the developer would prepare construction drawings to be approved. They could go build the plat, complete the improvements on their own with no bond on their property. And then when those infrastructure improvements were complete, then and approved by the city, then the plat could be recorded and the lot sold. It's an option. Some developers may like that. That's actually how it's done in a lot of communities that I've worked in over the years. Some of our neighboring communities have adopted that, and it can be a viable option for developers. And we just want to give the development community the tools that they may need to use, they may need to have to be able to be effective and efficient as we look forward to trying to be welcoming to development and growth within the city of Green River. So that's the big portion of it. The other portion of it is actually paragraph 12, which is defining when building permits can be issued on that new lot, and it applies to our existing process. It wouldn't apply to the new process because of the timing of things involved. Under our existing process, when the plat is recorded, if lots can be sold. If we have some buyer who wants to come start construction on their house, like if the subdivision improvements aren't there, there's really no reason or rationale of starting construction on a home if there's no street or water or sewer line to connect to. Right now, our ordinance is silent to that. It hasn't been, typically people understand the process and they're not buying lots too soon and trying to start too soon. They want to see construction happening. We have run into some issues near the end of construction trying to identify. So this just puts it in language that everybody can point to and say, okay, this is the process and this is how we're going to move forward. This is the timing, this is the sequence, this is the process, and everybody can agree to and be on the same page up from the beginning of their development process. So that's the rationale for adding that paragraph about the timing of the building permits. And I open it to questions or public comment, and I'm be available for you, anything you might need.
Okay, and since this is a public hearing, is there anybody else in the audience that wants to address this issue? we'll have an opportunity if anybody wants to under ordinances to ask questions. So nobody wants to, okay, I can use my little gavel. Close the public hearing. So next up is ordinances, consideration on first reading and ordinance amending a portion of section 5 and section 9 of appendix C, subdivisions of the City of Green River Code of Ordinances. So what we just heard Mark speak of. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Councilman Chatrin.
I move to approve on first reading the proposed language amendment to the portion of section 5, specifically 5E, final plat, and section 9 of the appendix C subdivisions of City of Green River ordinances to establish an alternative method for approving subdivisions, recording of the final plat, and to clarify when building permits can be issued.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Chatrin, seconded by Councilman Berg. Is there any further discussion? Go ahead, Councilman Kilpack.
I have a question on the proposed changes where it says item number 6. Approved by the council, recorded by the county based on what was actually built, lots can be sold. Does that mean that a lot cannot be sold until the subdivision is, the roads are in and the sidewalks are in and the gutters in?
And the alternate, then the proposed alternate, that would be the case, yes.
So, and that's what you're changing it to?
Well, it's establishing a second path. It's not eliminating the first path, the existing process. It's establishing an alternate path, a second way of doing it that would
Why
allow
would you want to pass in the process?
to give the flexibility to the development community.
So you're saying the developer could use the existing process or
Correct.
the proposed alternate process?
Yes,
And if he chooses to use the proposed alternate process, he cannot sell a lot until it's completed.
he can't sell the lots until they're completed because he's still only dealing with, say, a single parcel. Those new lots have not yet been recorded and so they haven't been created yet. So there's nothing to sell. But the benefit to the developer in that regard is, yes, he has to wait and to sell the lots, but the benefit to him is he doesn't have to bond for the improvements. So that may create some different financial discussions for that developer and his bank as far as the timing of things. It's just an option.
Have you ever spoken to any contractors that would like that second option?
Our last developer, Mr. Seneschal, actually requested this. And this is actually very common in the industry. I've worked a lot of communities that this is the only way.
And
Yeah, and it may depend on the size of the development. And really, we want to give options to the developer to let them decide whether which path works best for their financials and they're moving forward.
I don't know why any contractor would want to wait until everything's completed to sell a lot. Because most contractors, when they do a subdivision, they sell lots to pay for the subdivision.
Again,
Before
it's
they're
just-
even completed.
It's an option.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 6-1. Okay, council action items, item 8, consideration to authorize the signing of a fiscal sponsor letter for the Quilting on the Green Committee's fiscal year 24 community support grant application.
Mayor and Council, Ryan Rust, Government Affairs and Grants. About a month or so back, the Quilting on the Green Committee came to us and let us know that they are interested in applying for a grant through the Wyoming Arts Council for their 2024 Quilting on the Green Quilt Show. Unfortunately, they are not an eligible entity to apply, but there is a process through the Wyoming Arts Council that an eligible entity, which the city is, can submit a fiscal sponsor letter to that organization that they can submit with their package. And if they are awarded that funding, then the city would serve as the sub-grantee. We would sign the contract with the Wyoming Arts Council and work with the Quilting on the Green Committee to pass those funds through. There's no funding requirement from the city, just a little bit of work should this be awarded to set up a sub-grantee agreement with the Quilting on the Green Committee. And I think with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If there's any quilt specific questions, I think we have a member of the board here, but I believe that's it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Kilpack.
I move to authorize the signage of the fiscal sponsor letter to the Quilting on the Green Committee FY 24 committee support grant application to the Wyoming Arts Council.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Kilpack and seconded by Councilman Shatron. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Consideration to approve the 2023 high intensity drug trafficking HIDA subcontract award. Chief, did you want to just?
Yeah, just briefly, this is the grant that we've been awarded nearly every year for the last 20. It's currently paying for 2 task force officer positions. It's really needed in our effort against drug trafficking in our area. The drugs are not coming here because they're grown in Green River, Wyoming. We're getting them from Denver. We're getting them from Salt Lake. Down cases have taken us down into Phoenix, and we've had ties down into the country to our south in trying to combat this. Without this grant and being able to devote people full time to narcotics investigations, we would be much less successful in stopping or at least inhibiting the flow into our community.
Thanks, Chief. Does anybody have any questions for the chief? We've acted on this for a bunch of years. Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Councilman Shatron.
I move to approve the 2023 high intensity drug trafficking area subcontract award and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement upon approval of the city with the city attorney.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Shatron, seconded by Councilwoman Bushman. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
Who was that?
it was Gary and I at the same
No, it
time.
was Robert.
Councilman Byrd.
Mayor, I moved to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, moved by Councilman Berg, seconded by Councilman Kilpack. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Mr. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just a quick update. Brad was doing some extra duty tonight before he even got here. And he presented at the rec mill. We always go to the rec mill to get grants for the next fiscal year. Those were successful. We also have been working with some of the partners who are doing some things along with the city. So for example, we got our normal swim day camp and for the extra lessons and the busing. We got some junior jazz equipment. We've got the summer day camp busing, which I said, Greenbelt Task Force also received a grant for doing some crack sealing and lighting and signage. So that's continuing to move forward. And for you, Mayor, Pickleball Group was also awarded their Edgewater improvements to that. So very successful, and I appreciate Brad for going there tonight and getting that done. And of course, to the rec meal and the board for continuing to work with the city on this stuff. Also, we have just to give you a heads up, we have 2 grants that we're going to be looking to put in for. These grants are Homeland Security ones. We normally have them calendared to do next month, but they have moved up the date to apply for these grants by 1 month. So we would normally come into the first council meeting this, and to let you know that we want to go apply for them, but we can formally do that on next round. These grants are being Homeland Security. They are ones that we've done before. They are no match grants. We're looking for funding to complement the one that we just received from Homeland Security from this last year, which was for the generators that we had. We now need to meet some certain requirements regarding the switches and how it gets hooked up. That grant will allow for that. So, and then the other one that we're doing is working with as it complements another grant that you guys had approved, which is for the SCBA's through the AFG grant for the fire department. We can't get as many on that one, but what this one will allow us to do is go after 6 SCBA's, which is for one apparatus that we have. In case we aren't successful with the AFG, which we just found, I mean, they're about a year and a half behind on approving. So even though we put it in, we're probably not going to hear until sometime fiscal year 25, my guess is, but it's, but this way we can start to, this might be a way that we're looking at how to replace the SCBA's on a ongoing basis. And this would be a good way to do that, even though it can't be all, but we can do it one apparatus at a time. So I just want to let you know that that was there. We'll formally go do that, but we are continuing to look for grants, and these being no match, we want to, we are going to continue to go after those. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Reed. Mr. City Attorney.
I have no report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Galen. And since it says mayor and council board updates, I'm going to start. I just want to again, be the first one to congratulate Brad on his new position and wish you and your family all the best. And Reed, that was way too many abbreviations and letters in there, the SCBA, whatever. Councilwoman Bushman.
The only thing that I just want to say congratulations again to Brad. But I will be attending Thursday, the McKinsey home fundraiser. So that will be a good attending. That's all I have.
Councilman Berg.
Brad, I just want to say thank you. And I know you're not going to miss me putting you on the spot up here at the lectern, but I'm going to miss you. So thank you for everything you've done. And since I have to, I guess I can't pick on you anymore. Hey, Mark, just a reminder, it's almost pothole season.
Councilman Shetron.
I'd just like to congratulate Brad and just wish him well in his new position. That's all I have.
Councilman Jost.
And I'll also echo the congratulations and thanks for all the time you spent here in the work. The last 2 years have been very rewarding, just getting to know you and learn more, a lot of stuff for the last 2 years, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Councilman Williams.
Yeah, I have a major concern. West Third North and Hillcrest. I've addressed it to Reed. We have a major sinkage in the road there, probably because of the manholes there and stuff. Drove by it yesterday. Is a big problem. The streets department did a little bit of work this morning or just now coming to the council meeting. It's really collapsing. It's in bad shape. There's no cone there no more. It's down on Flaming Gorge. Somebody ran it over this morning, drug it down there. I threw it off the side of the road when I take my grandkids to school. This is a major concern. I measured it. It's 18 inches deep, and we have a 2-inch lip of concrete over the bridging over the top of it. We have school buses, people going to school there. It's a mess in the mornings and then after kids getting picked up. It's just going to take one of those buses to go over the top of that and slam through there, and it's going to drop into an 18-inch hole. And the city's aware of it. And I'd hate to see the lawsuit that's going to come down on top of us. I just want to see it getting taken care of right away. Coming here, I had to dodge a truck. He was coming one way. There's a big construction dumpster there where they're building that new home. And with that pothole like that and that submerged, we had to dodge each other. He was dodging that. And I was dodging the garbage can. And it turned it into a one-way street now. And that place is a nut house in the mornings. So I'd like to see that get addressed right away before the city gets into a pickle. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kilpack.
I hate to rain on Brad's parade here, but I do have to tell everybody, and I do appreciate Brad, and I know that he'll well be missed, but I do know some people that are glad to see you go. All the people in the basketball games that you give a technical to, they're happy to see you go. We'll miss you, Brad. Good luck. And that's all I have.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Mayor,
Councilman Chutrin.
I make a motion, we adjourn to executive session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned to executive session to deal with personnel and legal matters.